Hi, my name's Katiraee and I'm a systems strategist. And in today's video, we're going to talk about 4 different workflows that every wedding planner should have. So workflows are a great way to automate a lot of the tasks that you do in your business. Administrative tasks like following up with leads, sending proposals, contracts, getting paid, sending questionnaires, all these sorts of things can be automated in Dubsado using workflows. So I'm going to share 4 different types of workflows that you can use in your wedding planning business. Really, you can use these workflows for any industry, but the examples that I'm going to use are for wedding planners. So even if you're not a wedding planner, you'll still benefit from going through these workflows with me. Just a note before I get started, in this video I'm going to go through the workflows. I'm not going to look at the emails or the forms or the schedulers or any of that. So I'm just going to look at the steps in the workflow, not really the details of those templates that you need to have ready in order to build the workflow, okay? So the first workflow that we're going to look at is an inquiry workflow. Basically, it's going to change the project status to like new inquiry once they sign up, once they fill out the lead capture form. And it's going to send an automated email response letting them know that you are going to reach out to them in about 24 to 48 business hours. You can customize that email however you want. You can even share your services and pricing guide or some sort of guide or links to your website to help people learn more before you get back to them. Some people put a delay on this email because they're afraid that people will know that it's an autoresponder. The reality is most people are going to know that it is an auto-response email. Unless you go and personalize it with details from their form, people are going to know, for the most part, that it is an auto-response email. So don't worry about putting a delay. People, sometimes when they fill out the form, they are expecting an email immediately in their inbox to learn more. So if you put a delay of an hour or more, you may miss out on opportunities there, okay? You may miss out on the opportunity of them going and looking at your Instagram or your website or going through the guides that you're sharing. So don't worry about putting a delay and making it seem more human. It's okay. Everyone uses systems and automations in their business, and it doesn't make it feel less personal just because you're doing that, okay? Once that email goes out, then the next step is a to-do. A to-do is something that holds subsequent tasks below it in the workflow. So basically, this is going to hold the consultation call scheduler from going out until you check the box. So you can make the to-do have an email associated to it. So let's open this up. So this to-do is checking for availability. Like they put their wedding date in the form, you're just checking that you're available. You can also check that you're a good fit. And obviously this is up to each business. There is no right or wrong. Maybe earlier in your business, you don't really feel like screening people. You want to talk to as many people as possible. So you technically could remove this and consolidate the auto response email with sending them the scheduler. It's up to you. But if you are screening people, you want to make sure that you're available and or they're a good fit, you would add a to-do here. And you can see that there's an email reminder here. So that means that you're going to get an email with all of this. So that's just going to hold this scheduler from going out. So they get the auto response, you get the to-do, you look at their form, you look at their answers, you look at their date, you see if they're a good fit, you feel, yeah, this could be a good fit, I like what they're saying, they're in the right location, date, all of that. You check off the box and it sends them the consultation call scheduler. So one way to help you automate follow-ups with people, just in case they haven't booked the call, is to send another consultation call scheduler several days later. You can even do this multiple times, okay? Because this is what I found with some of my clients is that they would invite them to book a call, but they would lose track of who had booked and who had not because Dubsado can't check. There is no conditional logic that says, if they booked a call, do this. If they didn't book a call, do this. It's not a function in Dubsado yet. So what you can do is create 2 schedulers. You can see there's an underscore here. That's the only difference between them. The confirmation email, reminder emails are all the same, but this one is going out 2 days after this one. And now how it works is this step down here. Okay, so this changes the status. So it changes the status to consultation booked after this one is scheduled. This one changes the status to consultation book after the one with the underscore is scheduled. And then this step here pauses the workflow 0.03 hours, that's just a few minutes, after this call is booked, and the same thing for the underscore, the one with the underscore. I created two just so that I can tell them apart, or else I could totally mess this up by not being able to tell the schedulers apart. Or if I use the same one, it's just too hard. So you make very small differentiation between the two of them. That's the trick that I use. And then what will happen is, regardless of which one they book, this whole thing will shut down. Will pause, not shut down, pause. So if they got this scheduler, they booked the call, the workflow will stop so that this one doesn't go out. That's the gist of this workflow. Okay, so I've done this for wedding planning clients because they were tired of losing track of who had booked and who hadn't, and having to manually follow up with them. So yes, I can't add a step of like starting the next workflow. I lose that ability by using the pause function, but it's very, very helpful for wedding planners to not have to manually follow up with so many people. So I've done this for wedding planners, web designers, a lot of different industries, and this is basically how you would do it in Dubsado now because of the lack of conditional logic. Next is a booking workflow. So what I mean by that is this is the workflow that turns the lead into a client. This is where you send the proposal, contract, and invoice. And you can send it as a 3-in-1 by connecting the contract and the invoice to the proposal, or you can do it in separate steps. In this workflow, they're all together. So by sending this proposal, they're getting the contract and the invoice. But before that, there's a to-do that all it's doing is holding the proposal. It's applying the proposal to the project. It's applying the contract to the project, and it's creating a blank invoice for this client in preparation for whatever package that they're going to add or select in their proposal. So this allows you to go into the proposal and edit the package if you need to. Like if you're making custom packages for each client, it allows you to go in there and create a custom package inside the proposal based on the conversation that you had with the client. You could also do it at the invoice level, create the invoice and then basically use Smart Fields to pull the invoice into the proposal. That's something for another video, but this allows you to customize things, the proposal, the contract if you need to, the invoice, the email. You can edit everything that you need to make it unique and custom to this client before sending it out. So that's the reason there's a to-do here first. So you send the proposal. In this case, like I said, it has the contract and invoice. Then 5 days later, it will send the proposal again if they haven't submitted it yet. Okay, so this is a great function that Dubsado has. And basically, it's send form after form is not completed. And you have to make sure to select, this is the form that it's watching, but the form that it's going to send has to be the same one. So as long as you select the same one both times, Dubsado will do its thing. Then what you need to do here at this point is make sure that nothing continues until the contract is signed and the invoice installment is paid. So in this type of workflow, you need to make sure that your payment plan is connected here. Do not add it to the proposal. Payment plan should not go in the proposal if you're using workflows. You put it in the workflow, and then over here, you check that first installment, right? Because there's two. That first installment has been paid. So you're checking for contract, checking for invoice to be paid, and then it can kickstart the onboarding or like the welcome sequence, let's call it. So the third workflow is the onboarding workflow. So this is where you're welcoming your client, you're sharing questionnaires, information, schedulers, all of that throughout your time together. So it's going to activate the portal first, change the project status to booked, and then it's going to send them their planning questionnaire. And you can see there's a link to the client portal, there's a guide here, there's different things. So you don't just have to send the questionnaire, you can add other helpful onboarding information in this email to your client. It can check in, again, like we did with the proposal. If the questionnaire is not completed, send it to them again. And in this case, it's sending them a scheduler as soon as that questionnaire is completed. So they've completed it. Now you have the information that you need for them to book a call. So you're going to let them book a call once this is submitted. After the call, so you can see after the planning call is completed, you want to be able to edit the email that goes out to them. So that's kind of what you do here with a to-do. It allows you to come into the workflow, edit the email that you're going to send to this client. And when I say edit the email, it's once this workflow is in their project. So it's not editing the template, it's editing the workflow once it's in this client's project. Then you can do a lot of things. You can share blog posts, checklists, questionnaires, other schedulers, all these different things that you want to do. And it obviously depends on what package the client has purchased. You may have different onboarding workflows, even different booking workflows, depending on the service that you're offering. So some planners have different booking workflows if it's for partial, for full planning, for day of or month of coordination. Same goes for the onboarding. Like once they finish that booking workflow for that package, then it flows to the right onboarding package based on the service that they purchased. And the final workflow is the offboarding post-wedding workflow. So sending them a thank you 1 day after their project end date, so that's their wedding date. Sending them a feedback form. I put the 6 days, you may want to do it later, keeping in mind that they might be on their honeymoon. So sending them a feedback form. If you don't want to use a Dubsado form, you can use an email that has links to Google reviews or the Knot or Wedding Wire, wherever you're gathering your reviews and testimonials. You can send an email with that. The beauty of using a Dubsado form is that Dubsado will automatically check in if they haven't submitted it in a few days, but you can also put it to do like a week later to check that they've submitted. And if they haven't, you can manually send them an email. In this case, with the form, you can also send a thank you email once the form has been submitted. And then you can even send an anniversary email 1 year after their wedding. I've also seen, like for instance, if you're a photographer, you can also send an email inviting them to book other services. You've done their wedding photography, so maybe, event photography or portrait photography. You can send an email with a list of other services that you have, or asking for referrals and gifts for people who send you referrals. You can do all that sort of thing as well. So these are 4 different workflows that you can use in your wedding planning business or other businesses if you're not a wedding planner. And if you need help setting up Dubsado for your business, I specialize in helping people set up custom workflows to help them automate and save time in their business. And I help you build everything that you need to deliver those workflows. So the forms, the emails, schedulers, everything that's needed to be built in Dubsado, I help you build that so that we can help you save time and automate a lot of these administrative tasks in your business. So if you're interested in a Dubsado setup, feel free to book a discovery call with me by going to my website. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you next time.